Alright, let's do this one last time. 4 years ago, I made several shipping videos on anime, and they were pretty bad, so I deleted them. And now, since the My Hero Academia has ended, and its fandom shipping fandom is still chaotic to this day, even though they can't learn to move on and accept things the way they are and how it is, I decided to make another tier list. And joining me today is ZXEmporer and Ryan, who I've met in Wattpad.
What's up?
What's up?
I have a list of around 40 ships for us to rank, and I don't want to drag this intro out because this will be annoying as heck to edit. Alright, first ship up is Asui and Izuku. Personally, I do not like it because I don't care, because the only connection to them is green in this OVA, and that is it.
I kind of see what people are coming from with this, but I feel like there are a lot of places where people have to fill in why they seem good together, and with all of what they say plus what we see, it doesn't really add up.
Asui is a super overrated character who honestly was basically just popular because of porn. Look at the community, I'm right. C tier, simple as that.
What about you, Ryan? Do you agree with C tier? I prefer D tier.
I honestly don't care where you put it. I really don't have any input on this one.
All right, let's go with D.
That still works for me.
Okay, next one up is Todamomo, one of the most overrated shits, because these two haven't interacted with each other ever since
the end of semester exams.
Yes, they haven't talked to each other much since then, and people just keep using that one specific team up as the basis. And honestly, even then, I don't see it much of. Like, I can see the dynamic, but I don't see much of it. Like, even the light novels, they don't interact that much.
So, as someone who, really liked this ship back in the day, when, during the time of, when I joined the fandom, I really enjoyed the ship, but now I'm more lukewarm towards it. I do see the appeal, and this has more merit to it than some other ships, because they do have, very baseline respect for each other and have a very good trust in each other. Even when they don't interact, they do highly respect each other and believe, during the 1A versus 1B joint training, Todoroki believed in Yaoyorozu the entire time.
Yep. So, okay, you already know my opinions on the ship. I actually still like the ship. I think the problem is that a lot of, and this goes along more or less with my problem with Horikoshi's later writing, or this could have even been an editor issue. But the problem is that so many characters fell by the wayside to just concentrate on the main trio instead of giving focus to other characters in the very sporadic moments. Because for me, something that drives me nuts, and it's probably gonna be a repeat issue for some ships. This corresponds with it. The idea of Todoroki calling Bakugo a friend when Bakugo has always been just such a straight piece of shit towards everybody. I mean, how much more interesting would have that conversation been when they're having dinner about if, say, Fuyumi had brought up other characters, to be like, so what about your other friends? It could have had a simple moment right there of other friend, Todoroki thinking about his other friends. He could have easily brought up Ida, Momo, but no, it's Bakugo instead, because because of his popularity, so of course he became more prevalent, but at the risk of pretty much everybody else.
So where do you rank it?
Call me guilty on this one, but I still love this ship. I'd probably put it in A, but because of the other issues, it's reasonable to put in B.
I say B or C.
Inko and All Might, I really like it, but it doesn't really have much substance to it. They're both acquaintances that both deeply care for Izuku.
Inko's his mom, All Might's his father figure. That's about as much reason everyone ships them, and honestly, it takes fan fiction so much editing, so much work just to make them have chemistry.
Yeah.
I think for that it deserves D tier, because there's nothing in the material that helps supports it.
It's not just the material. From my perspective, it's a very uncomfortable ship. I mean, it's also regarding even from the perspective of canon, Inko actually kind of has a very, maybe not negative, but not necessarily a positive viewpoint of All Might, because sure, All Might did inspire Deku to follow his dreams, to be a hero, whatever, but that's also what led to him getting majorly f***ed up. And I think to some extent, as much as Inko knows, Deku made his decisions, I'm pretty sure she blames All Might for this just as much, and we kind of see hints of that throughout the series. You know, in between like the USJ and the post Camino incident. You know, and that's not shipping material. That's big conflict, you know, in contrast with shipping. So if anything, Inko is that's just giving Inko more fuel not to be with All Might. And I've personally just never seen how like the Toshi Inko shippers really go at it with that. It's like, bruh, there's so much conflict with that. They'd have to go over for that to even work.
Enough said. You nailed it, bruh.
Yeah. Although I will say it's a funny crack ship in some stories.
All right, next one up is Kendo and Tetsu. Honestly, it's more like a crack in my eyes.
I like it. It's harmless. I think the only thing I would put on it is that it does have actually quite a bit of Ken support behind it. And I'm not talking about like the head crown stuff. It's for a little time as Class B gets in terms of screen time. We actually get quite a bit of like mutual support, almost akin to like the whole Todoroki Momo ship.
This is One Piece Todo Momo.
Yeah, this is basically One Piece Todo Momo. But when you relate to the amount of screen time these characters have, that's actually a good chunk of their screen time. I'm not going from the delusional part. I'm talking about for the very limited amount of screen time we get, it actually puts a lot towards Tetsu and Kendo.
Never thought about that way. Maybe I should put it. Yeah, I'm still being in a crack. I don't have a strong opinion on it still.
Like I said, for me, there's always a proportional amount of how much do we see these characters in proportion to their total screen time, and how much is that related to one character, which you could pull from a shipping perspective, to make it fair in that regard.
Next one up is a ship I have not much to no opinion on, Ojiro and Toru. The only one people like because they're background characters with not much to do. I guess Toru, who helped reveal the traitor, but...
Oh, there's actually plenty of shipping fuel on this one.
It's fine, inoffensive, I have no strong opinion on it. I'm thinking more of a C tier.
I do enjoy like their little moments early on, but like they're both really like so nothing characters on their own that together I don't really feel a lot.
Again,
but honestly, it took knowing what Hagakure looks like for me to even like actually care about her.
I actually liked her even before her character design. B tier for me. Again, I think this is just another example of a lot of the side characters getting shafted thanks to the main trio.
Okay, moving on. Kendo and Monoma.
Honestly, they have more chemistry than Kendo and Tetsu, but I'm not sure if that equates to like for shipping. Just take that as you will.
I'm halfway on this one. Like it's definitely an interesting alt considering that she's like the disciplinarian on it. But I'm not a big fan of it, so like DC, whatever.
I think it's funnier when it's like played as a joke.
I mean, at that point you can put it in the crack tier.
Yeah, I'm putting it there. I think it's like equal with Tetsu and Kendo. All right, next one up is Nejire and Tamaki.
Oh, I like it.
Honestly, I like this one.
It's a meh. You think C?
Honestly, I would probably put it in B. In B.
All right.
Like I liked seeing their like how they met in the manga and having it a little bit expanded on in the anime.
Yeah.
It's cute. Also, anxiety-riddled boy and extremely extrovert girl.
Yeah,
sounds like a fun concept.
That is a classic straight.
All right, next one up is probably the first A tier in the list is Kamijiro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those examples again where the side characters actually get enough screen time, and there's just enough hints throughout the whole series to be like, yeah, this is a pretty legit thing all the way.
In the first war, Midnight told Kaminari to think of people or someone that matters to him the most. Like the first person we see when he's thinking is Jiro.
Yeah, honestly, A tier all around. And next one up is Shihai and Kinoko and Kyoryo.
One of the only canon ships.
I like how cute it is. I like it a lot.
I'm towards it. I don't feel one way or another about it.
I think I'll put it on top of B tier.
I'm gonna be a broken record on this one. Again, how a lot of side characters just sidelined it, so development didn't have a chance to happen. Yeah, it's fairly cute.
I feel like you don't have to repeat yourself every time about the side characters thing.
Yeah, but yeah, basically, I think we could have gotten more development on this ship, which is why it could have made us care about it a bit more. At least towards you, Ryan. But
they have more development than any of the Kyoto students from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Fair enough.
wait, don't disrespect Mechamaru that way. Mechamaru was pretty goaded.
I said most.
F tier, F tier, F tier.
F
As long
tier.
as much as I find it funny, just from that, from the crack regard, no, F tier. Mineta does not
No, with
deserve
all the
shit.
times Mineta harassed Momo.
Yep. Okay, now it's time for another Mineta ship that is absolutely going to be on crack. Shiozaki and Mineta.
Why is
Crack.
this here?
Crack. It's here because of me. It's here because of me.
Put it wherever you want. I just know that I think every Mineta ship should be an F.
Okay, next one up is Hatsume and Ida.
I used to kind of see this one, but not really so much now.
Kind of like Momo and Todoroki, there is a lot of potential, and there are some things about even in the later series, like in the later chapters. One funny thing about Mei is how she talks to the majority of people. She doesn't really, kind of like Bakugo, she doesn't really use anyone's name. She usually comes up with like nicknames for everybody, with two exceptions. We actually see this in canon. The only two exceptions are Deku and Ida.
Does it really rank her up in terms of dynamics and characteristics?
No, but I mean, again, like, this is one of those things where the fact that she knows him well enough to start using his name instead of just coming up with another, nickname is something to consider when taking potential canonicity into account, or potential for canonicity, to consider.
So, okay, you're right. I think it goes to C tier. But I think while we're at it, we might as well put Izuku and Mei in C tier too. If I actually had do I have the photo of it? Wait, did I not include it here?
I don't know.
Okay, so I didn't. Okay, cool. Probably because I thought how it was just pointless. People only like it for the porn.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, next up is Deku and Jiro. It's so boring.
Yeah.
People only like it because of the tomboy and nerd boy. Like, look, I like the dynamic and trope. It's just that it has to work well with the characters. Like, if anything, like Dandadan did that well with its nerd main character and tomboyish punk girl. That was great.
I mean, well, Momo's a Gadiyu, which has so many different connotations, but sure. Jiro for me as an individual character, kind of like Suyu, it's not that she doesn't have her own merits, but a lot of the fandom will blow up a character far more than she actually is. If you see any of the like Deku Jiro fanfics, one of the most common tropes for like a Deku Jiro ship is Izuku got cheated on by usually Ochako as a way to kind of justify shit. Like, that's, your ship has such weak leanings where that's how you have to start off.
For real.
Jiro is rebound, like a rebound girl. That's bad.
I think it's one of those shits where people are just like, she's passionate about something like Izuku is, and like, yeah, everyone's passionate about something. Just because they're like both super passionate about something doesn't really mean they should be like together.
Yep.
Yeah, you nailed it.
To give a little bit of credit towards Izume, contrary to Izujiro, would probably be just because of the gags of, Mei's tits getting on that face pretty much whenever there was a chance to. At the very least, I could see Izume better than I could see Izujiro.
Kachako, this ship here, it goes to the bottom, disgusting.
Okay, I want to bring up something. This will really make you think. Okay, the ship is not as bad as we make it out to be.
Disagree.
Okay, just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore fan fictions. Ignore the fandom. Ignore all that. In canon, if you didn't have context with the fanon and all that with fan fictions, what's there to really hate about it? I mean, yeah, it's a bad ship. In no way am I saying it's a good one. It is a bad ship.
Well,
what's there really to get angry about?
I'm actually glad you brought up not bringing fanfics. I don't bring fanfics of how much I hate this ship. So, from a lot of different points, if we're going to really look at this from every possible angle, but to some extent, we have to include fan reaction because this plays up to a bit of the meta narrative here. Part of the reasons why this ship is so popular is, for example, Bakugo respects Uraraka, whatever. Like, Bakugo doesn't respect shit until he's already dealt with it. He didn't know Uraraka's name at the time when it was announced that they were going to fight. He didn't know who she was, and only got respect for her after the fight. But In reality here, though, it's like, it doesn't matter if it was Uraraka, Momo, whatever character would have fought Bakugo there, because that fight is the start of the shit. Like, that's like where, if you put a lot of shippers there, that's a keystone right there. Doesn't matter what character, it could have been f***ing Jiro. If Jiro had done it, whatever Uraraka had done, we'd probably see more Baku-Jiro ships, what have you. But the fundamental thing why it irks me in so many ways is because Bakugo as a character, in this contrast between the rivalry between Deku, Bakugo, and just the sheer fact that we know Izuocha is like the shit. We know from the beginning this is like the pairing, right? It seems like the most outlandish thing to put these two characters that have such incompatible traits with each other, and try to work around a ship with these guys. It just doesn't work from any angle you can really look at it. And I'm not including fandoms, I'm not including fanfics, I'm talking about these straight characterizations in which we know for a fact, if we read some of the stuff that the anime didn't include, such as this Omake chapter in the manga, where Uraraka calls him out. She calls him out. This is just something that, for some stupid reason, they didn't include in the anime. But Uraraka calls Bakugo out on his shit, with how he treats Deku. And so, when you really look at it from that, how can you really say this is the ship you're supporting when everything about it in canon is like saying this would not work whatsoever?
Oh, I'm not defending it at all.
Good.
I'm just saying, to the degree we used to despise it,
No, I still
it's
do.
not that awful. It's bad. It is really bad. But to the degree we used to hate this ship, but you remember the degree we used to hate this ship.
I don't regret it.
I mean, some of us still do. That's the thing. Like, I still hate it.
But honestly, looking back on it, it's just not worth getting as angry as we used to be about it.
You know what? Fair point.
Yeah. I mean, again, anger is not really
I got that angry because of how popular it was, because of how much I would see it. But thinking back on it, I was like, you know what? I shouldn't get so angry. I know it's not canon. I know the people who ship it are dumb. I'm just gonna move on.
My general sentiment is less anger, more just sheer disgust. Like, again, anger probably would not be the word I would use. It's just disgust. It's like from every angle possible here.
Yeah, that's why it deserves on disgusting tier. Okay, next one up is a ship that's also disgusting. This one here.
Yeah, we don't even need to discuss this. Okay, actually, let's keep it as brief as possible. Shinako, you go first.
Okay, it's basically a bully abuse victim, and the fans of it try to make it as comparable to Shoko and Shoya from A Silent Voice, but yet they fail to understand why that pair works and why this one fails in every single regard. I'm done.
I see people try to gas up this ship while trying to put down other characters to boost it up. That's not how you build up a relationship. It should be building up each other, not putting down anyone else that gets in the way of the ship. And besides, anyone who says that Ochako's character just revolves around Izuku, that's literally Bakugo's entire role in the story.
Yes.
Going to be a better person towards Izuku, but they won't give it to him. Also, they babyfy Izuku way too much.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw this in here too because I think it's in the same tier because of how it's not nearly as toxic as the other one, but when it turns to babifying Deku, it's almost the same amount.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This one's just annoying. Like, it doesn't anger me, it's just annoying, but it's annoying me. It annoys me to a disgusting degree.
It's like shipping Naruto and Gaara. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, next one up is Aizawa and Midnight.
Honestly, there was really nothing really attaching to, about this ship to me. More
Honestly,
like,
it's hard to ship her with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with her personality, her whole shtick is. If anything, I guess the closest thing I could think of is Kumo, but even then, no.
Nah.
All right, next one up is what the earth? Oh, this one here, Bakugo and Kaminari.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just go ahead and put that in D.
Yeah.
Or F.
I'm just gonna say one thing. Lord have mercy. The shipping community just will take whatever crumb they get and like roll.
You put Kaminari and Shinzo on this, right?
No, why would I do that? That's stupid.
Okay.
Okay, next one up is the most popular Bakugo ship, and that is really sad. Bakugo and Kirishima. I personally do not care.
You know this isn't the most popular Bakugo ship.
Okay, this is the most healthy popular Bakugo ship. How about that?
Oh my god, that's so sad. That's actually true.
Early on, I could see where people were coming from, but
Yeah.
as I saw like more of Kirishima's like dynamic and history with Mina, I'm like, you know what? I prefer these two.
Okay, I want to put on Do Not Care because I just don't
Okay.
care.
I'm not gonna lie, kind of like Ryan. Like I saw the potential. Honestly, if it wasn't for like the Mina editions, I could actually see this being like at least B tier. Like if the whole Mina thing hadn't really come up, ever, if that wasn't part of it, I could see that being potential, and I like I don't mind it.
All right, now it's time for probably the third or second best ship in the series, Gento and Labrava.
Yeah.
S
S
tier.
tier. Don't even need to explain.
I love how
Yeah.
supportive these two are to each other.
Like these two saved each other basically.
Yes. Yeah. Perfection. Yeah.
Mwah. All right, now it's time for another ship from ZXE. Shinso and
Why?
I'm not. Hold on.
let him cook. Let him cook.
I'm guilty of this one. This is purely an aesthetic ship for me. I know, like, from any canon point, there's nothing here. I'm gonna be the first to say that here. This is more or less just something I did in one of my stories. I thought I could make the dynamic interesting, and I feel like, especially for some people who actually don't ship these characters, I've actually got some people to actually go along with it, at least for the story that I'm writing.
I gotta respect this.
I don't expect anyone to take it seriously. So yeah, you could go ahead and put it in the crack category. I'm just saying that ship is probably here because of me. It's simple as that.
All right, next one up is Nejire and Mirio. I'm gonna be honest, I see this the same as Tamaki and Nejire. Like it's the same. It's the same in my eyes.
Right? Like these two are already like really similar and like being super happy and optimistic. Where it almost feels like shipping the same character.
Yeah, I do prefer Tamaki over Nejire, but I could also see this, being a thing. It just depends where it drops.
Yeah. So let's say like as equal footing on these two.
I just give the edge to Tamaki a bit more.
All right, next one up is Tokoyami and Asui.
They're only shit because they're animal themed, honestly.
Yeah.
Like that one fight they had together and the fact that they're animal themed, I think, are the only reasons people ship this.
I personally do not care.
Neither do I.
And I'm just one of those guys from a writing perspective. I can see the potential. It's just not expressed often.
And next one up is a ship that surprisingly fills me with anger when it really shouldn't, but it does anyway because of how perfect Izuocha is. But this one here,
I can kind of see what you mean, because like it feels like Ida is stepping in on his best friend's girl, even though like it really isn't.
If things in canon were different, I could definitely support this one. Because at the least they are friends. Like there is,
respect.
Yeah, there is some respect, and whether or not, let's just say in the theory of theoretical writing, if the ship wasn't going to be Izuocha, I'd say this is a pretty good backup ship for the two.
Really, people have been saying that it's Asui that would be the better backup option.
No, I'm
I
talking
feel
about
like backup ship for Izuka and Chako is dumb.
Yeah, any ship outside Yuzuko Chako is just dumb in my eyes.
Like I said, I'm just going from the again how depending on how the narrative went perspective.
Deku and Melissa, so freaking boring that I do not care.
I love Melissa's character. I do not love this ship.
I like Melissa, don't like the ship. Like I feel like people only talk about it because like there is a little more merit to this than like Izume, but like it's only on the factor of like because she still like works with heroes and she's quirkless and she finds another way to be a hero. That's about it. She's quirkless and makes hero support items.
She's the parallel to Deku if Deku was female and went with the support course instead of pursuing the heroism.
All right. So next one up is Bakugo and Kami.
Let's go ahead and put this as a crack ship.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I remember when I actually like legitimately liked this ship, but in retrospect, I was like, damn, I only really liked this because of fanfics, didn't I?
I think there were some like when they're dealing with the little kids and whatever. Yeah, like it's one of those things where there's some potential there, but most like there's aside from there's nothing really there.
Anyway, moving on. This one that people only like because Lady Gun is hot. Lady Gun and Deku.
Let's not even discuss this. Let's just put any ships involving an adult and a minor in disgusting.
Next one up is, oh my god, let's just put these two together because I feel like they're like around the same.
Oh,
yeah. This is just Crazy Girl in Hero Boy. There's really not a lot to this.
All right. I do not disgusting.
I actually have some shit to say about this one.
Okay.
As someone who has been in a relationship with someone who's young, who, mind you, I didn't know she was basically yandere. Guys, look, I understand in some cases how lonely it can be. I have not been in a relationship in a number of years, but it's never worth it to be with a crazy chick. Mind you, when I had my little relationships with this yandere who will remain nameless, Lord have mercy, it was not worth it. Ever. What? You guys deserve better. Don't fall for yanderes. She acted normal until she stopped. Okay? At least with Toga. Toga is at least crazy.
Toga doesn't pretend to be normal.
That's what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is that part of the reason why Izuocha was popular is because, again, some people self-insert themselves as Deku, thinking, I can fix her. No, you can't. There is no fixing someone like that. Period.
Yeah.
There is no fixing that.
No, she didn't.
No, she did not. No, she did not, and I will explain my point there later. But all I'm saying is, for some guys who are that lonely, that desperate, that they think they want a yandere girlfriend, no, they do not. Man, you deserve better than that. That.
Okay, it goes to like this goes to the bottom because it's bad, but at least with your story made this hilarious, so it's going at the top of disgusting. All right, now it's time for this one that people keep fetishizing on Twitter.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
To be fair, Horikoshi doesn't help with that.
Do you think that's his intent?
No, but the problem is that because of the way Toga was written, and then you have the fandom that just decide to go, take in a different direction, and because it was still popular. Again, I think this is more like the editorial. I don't think this was necessarily Horikoshi intended, but instead this is more like an editorial decision that kind of overruled on what Horikoshi wanted.
Twitter's honestly made me hate it more than I would have ever. Like, I know before I said, like, with Kachiko, oh, don't let the fandom ruin stuff for you, but no, like, with how popular the ship was towards the end and how much I was seeing it on Twitter, whether I wanted to or not, it's not just the fact that it's like, it was immensely popular towards the end. It's the fact that people were like, oh, it's canon because Ochako, like, people were giving like very, okay, Toga, yes, in the end did love Ochako, but Ochako had no reason to love Toga. They had two meetings before this. Both times she was trying to stab Ochako. So like, just because Ochako was trying to understand her doesn't mean she loves her. Like, there's no build up to like an actual romance between the two. So the amount of times we were like, Ochako loves her, like, no, she doesn't. Like, she's a hero trying to help someone who is in need.
All right, so I'm gonna give my 2 cents here. I'm gonna say this flat out. It's not because of my experiences. I despise the yandere trope. I despise the trope with a passion. I am one of those guys that hated Toga from the very beginning. I've never liked Toga. In my opinion, she was not redeemed from every perspective, from both a narrative and a relationship perspective. They dropped the ball hard on what they were trying to do with this character. And the reason why I had to bring up this is because this is kind of how the ship kind of spawned in. It's because of the way this narrative was trying to drive here. And this on how Toga became this rival for Deku's affection, which when we finally see the chapter where she quote unquote confesses, Deku just shuts that down like the chat he is.
He should have kicked her skull in.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, from that narrative perspective of, okay, I like the idea of, where Ochako potentially being this other form of hero, like, who watches the hero, who saves the heroes, and can villains be redeemed? I think that's a fair, thing to bring up, right? I think it was just wasted on the wrong character. Toga had the potential. The writing was there. The problem is that ultimately it led to nowhere, but you have this scene again with Ochako saying she has the most beautiful smile. The bloodthirsty who's killed God knows how many people, and basically tries to justify it with Shigaraki's new order that they're planning to do. Sorry, I can't feel sympathy for that whatsoever. But a lot of people in the shipping community, and one of the reasons why this ship became so popular,
See, that's the thing. Like,
trying to get that here.
Like their characters you're meant to feel bad for, but not justify their actions. Because like Toga was abused from an early age and forced to have to hide how real feelings.
Here's what I can say. Yes, I can agree with that, but here is where that narrative falls by the wayside. In my opinion, what do you call it? Where it fell by the wayside is, yes, the abuse is there. You can see that abuse. I'm not denying that. However, what I would have loved to see from that perspective, and we could definitely see how the courts also warp one's mentality, either it's ideology, but to see any semblance of resistance. For example, when we see her as a little kid sucking the blood out of that bird, if we can have at least one moment of Toga like hesitating, something akin to resist that quirk craving. Again, even from a little kid, some matter of empathy here of whether or not the quirk is completely in control. And the problem with that, is if you're no longer truly in control, how far does villainy really go, and whether or not it's understood in society. But we see so many other examples of whether or not one is truly in control of one's actions, depending on the art with society. But like I said, you can empathize with somebody doing something bad, but you're not trying to justify them. But the problem is the story is kind of trying to justify him to a certain extent. But I'm just not having it. And you can also see that with how the fandom is trying, because again, part of the story here is how do fandoms interpret the story, and if people are interpreting the story of, can Toga be redeemed? Again, there's something in the narrative that's giving them that message. So ultimately for me, like I said, there was the potential to really give Toga at least some semblance of real sympathy had we just seen her at times try to resist the quirk. I'm not saying she should have, just said, be able to not fall for the quirk's cravings, but having some manner of hesitation, some manner of maybe feeling a little bit guilty after feeding on somebody early on when she was young. No, she was blood crazy from the word go. At least having a semblance of there was humanity hidden under that quirk would have made her far more sympathetic and far more, like how we can approach quirks from the mind of counseling versus are quirks destined to completely warp somebody, with no chance whatsoever.
Someone finally said it. Thank you.
And again, this has to do with the idea of the contrast between what we see versus what's shown. And the way I've always seen it, because that's the way it was shown to me, was that like, okay, like do quirks truly control everything about somebody? In that case, then Toga isn't to blame, but we still expect it to have some semblance of free will of stop killing people. It's wrong, but can she be redeemed? Well,
that's the thing, though. Toga did try to resist the urges of her quirk, and that's what caused her to become a psychopath. She literally held down the feelings her quirk has given her to live a quote-unquote normal life. The entire reason she is a villain is because of all those suppressed feelings that came from resisting finally coming to the surface.
I would agree with that, but here's where the issue is. It's what we see on the surface. We never really get to see her direct thoughts of, again, feeling some semblance of guilt. She's never felt guilty. She feels the need to suppress herself because that's what society puts in, and that's still a form of suppression. It's still a form of suppression, but she's not doing it out of feeling bad. She's doing it because that's what she feels is the necessity. That's a difference between, again, like suppressing yourself because it's the right thing to do versus suppressing yourself because that's how you keep yourself living in society. It's both fucked up, but one is more sympathetic than the other. It's like saying, okay, if we take, for example, a mass murderer who acts completely normal and is acting normal because that's what society deems. Versus...
Wait, why are we talking about Ochako? Why are we talking about Toga? Isn't this about the ships themselves?
But again, this all added up to why I feel like this ship ultimately spun out into such a bad. It's all in contrary to Ochako and Toga. Like why this ship could never work. Why it's such a it flies in the face of everything between these two characters. Like, but part of it has to do with how. I mean, again, like any ship, there could be potential here, but the problem is Toga is really badly written, in my opinion, which just makes this ship far worse in the long run.
Yeah, plus like, she cried when Ochaka tells her that her actions have consequences, which means that she's up that this psycho's upset to have consequences to her actions, then actually feeling bad for the lives she's taken away because she just wanted to stab people and drink their blood freely nilly. So yeah, I think it goes to disgusting tier. Man, this is I had to set up chapters because of how long these breakdowns are.
Yeah. Sorry, I went on a long tangent there. I'm sorry about that, but
okay. So yeah, but overall, I agree with you 100%. Ryan, you have any points to disagree with?
I do, but I don't feel strong enough to argue on them.
Yeah, it's a bad ship anyway, so what's there to argue about? Yeah, you both agree that it sucks. All right, next one up is something that ZX has no recollection of, but me and Ryan do because we saw the movie. Yusei Fudo and Blonda Kiza.
I haven't seen the movie. I have no opinion on this one, so I can't comment on it.
I think it's basically like Shadow and Maria, but humified and less weird.
Okay, so I can see like the potential in this. I don't really have like any strong feelings about this. Like, because I never really like got to sit on them like as a ship.
Yeah, they're only in for one movie and a cameo. Okay, now for a curveball, Koichi and Pop Step.
I like it.
Me too.
I've actually read the Vigilantes manga, so.
You think it's B tier or A tier?
I think A tier is fair, or B. Well,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, B or T. B or A. Either one works for me.
This one here is my favorite. I love this ship so much.
Okay,
God, dude.
All right, with that out of the way, now it's time for the best ship in the series, Izuocha.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think there's anything I can say about this. These two just work. They just work so well. Like, they constantly build each other up. They are always there for each other when they need it. And Izuku's able to read her whenever she's hiding her true feelings, and her towards him.
Yep.
Like, he was able to tell she was clearly upset about losing to Bakugo and about everything that happened with Toga. Like, he was always there for her when she was at her lowest, and her for him. Like, these two, it just happens that they're also cute and are obvious. But like, there are obvious like canon ships that are bad, but these two work so well together because they complement each other so much that it's hard not to ship them unless you're just like, oh, they're too obvious that I can't ship them. Then then that just comes off as you trying to be different.
Contrarian, yeah.
Meanwhile, those same people probably ship Stolas and Blitz.
Wait, who the fuck are they?
Yeah, you wouldn't care.
Yeah, you're right. I don't. Okay, so yeah, basically, I have nothing else to add. Like, it's just good. Like, there's a bunch of like, I've seen several romance animes where this main central focus is the two main characters' romance. Your Name, Weathering with You, Wolf Children, to an extent, and they're great romances. And this is no different.
I will say this: one, I think we can all also universally agree this could use just a bit more screen time. To still get a bit more development in there, but. From what we got, it works. That being said, there is merit towards simple ships. Sometimes you don't need a big, complicated relationship to, especially if the narrative doesn't demand it. I can get away with the narrative. I think My Hero is one of those things where, the narrative got fuddled in a lot of different ways. And a simple ship can, make sure it doesn't flood that narrative. Well, again, there is a time and place for more complicated romances. But sometimes simplicity is best if you're already juggling with a lot. And I feel like this is one of those examples of, simplicity works better for the story.
Enough said. You got it, man. Overall, at the top of S tier. This ship makes me happy. And when I saw that they got together at that bonus epilogue chapter, it made me smile so much. It put me in Wonderland.
What I've been wanting for so long for them is like not an explicit "I love you" kind of like confession, but like a Full Metal Alchemist kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that actually would have been good.
And that's like somewhat what we got, and I'm super happy about it.
Yeah. Overall, I think this is a great tier list. Of course, we're missing a whole lot more, but there's no way I'm wasting 3 hours of my life getting more picks.
The only one I wish was on here was Kirimina.
That would have been like on B tier.
I probably would have put that at A tier if I'm being honest.
I would have put it in A tier.
You know what? I'll go with A too. I mean, I do like it. It doesn't make me angry compared to the many garbage I see below. But overall, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, gentlemen. Especially you, ZX, for providing so much in depth to Toga. I appreciate that.
Again, it's my opinions. I know some people are going to heavily disagree with my opinion. That's perfectly fine. You know, it's nothing to get super worked up over. But like I said, for me, I just always hate seeing like potential, like when I can see the potential there, but the execution is really poor. Again, I think Toga again had some great potential in my opinion. But I just didn't see it put into fruition. And I always think that's pretty sad.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think the list came out fine.
Glad to hear it. But yeah, editing this will be super annoying to deal with. But yeah, I enjoyed making this video with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And also, if you can, check out Ryan's Twitter and Instagram for his art, and ZXE's amazing Izuocha fanfiction.
I don't have social media, so I don't have a Twitter account. I don't really do that. But yeah, you can follow me on like fanfic.net or AO3. Shonak will put the links there. If you want to go ahead and like, if you disagree with my opinions, go ahead and flame me on my profiles there instead of just, you know, I'm probably just going to ignore you anyway.
Yeah. But overall, this was definitely a good time.